Okay.
Whoa!
I'm excited for this game. Jjjosie versus Weso. They're scrim partners. I can't wait. What do you think?
We're doing wardrobe changes here. Is this happening here?
Oh, well, you know, I've got to represent the team. You know,
All right, that's fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, again, we saw Weso playing really strong, but again, gonna be a tough one going up against Jjjosie. We saw how well Jjjosie dominated in that first game, even going with the triple nade loadout here. And so coming into this, as you mentioned, clearly the favorite here. So Weso going to have to put in a lot of work to be able to try to take this over Jjjosie.
Well, yes, but you know, Weso for a long time was considered the third best Blaston player in the world until 24 kind of took the crown from him for that third place. Although, you know, just shout out 24, he won PRML finals, so he's definitely, you know, up there.
Jjjosie here, as you can see right now. Oh, actually, no, never mind. It's Weso who's going with the double lance setup here with the lance nade and the lance here. So really going to try to control Jjjosie's movement with those lances. Yeah, you can see right there controlling that space. And Jjjosie taking a lot of damage there. Was that just from out of bounds damage right there?
Yeah, potentially. You know, Weso is one of the first players actually to bring lances in competitive play and show that it has some great effects. And weirdly, though, Jjjosie's not the person you want to run it against because Jjjosie's so much taller. He's got more vertical dodging, but it's working. Jjjosie's on no health. He's got a minute left. He's got to dodge everything and do more than half of Weso's remaining HP. Or totally.
Yeah, and that's going to be so hard right now, especially with all these bullets coming at you and with these energy cages as well. But you can see Weso going for a very, very space-controlling build here with those two lances. I mean, you look at his build right now, the Luma is going to be the majority of his damage, and then he's just got the standard Wildcat and Raptor Ellipse here. So it's really just about controlling the space and hoping that the Luma can do the damage.
Yeah, so Weso's plan is just trap with lances and follow up with either that Wildcat Raptor Ellipse combo you see. You shoot the Wildcat and kind of snake out the Raptor Ellipse side to side, or Luma. But Jjjosie, you know, coming back, you know, he essentially got caught off guard round one. Seems to have worked out a strategy and is.
And we've seen how good Jjjosie is with that majestic nade, always managing to get it onto right above that podium there and causing problems here. So definitely going to be trying to use that, and as well as the hurricanes from the sky. But he is using the split variant here to try to control that space. And that's the intention here. But you can see how those lances can cause just so much trouble here. And interestingly enough, I also feel like Weso's trying to aim those lances a little bit higher, knowing how tall Jjjosie is.
Well, then if Jjjosie ducks down to avoid them, it's easier for Weso to essentially follow up and attack him, because when you're on the floor, especially as a taller player, you've got less mobility than perhaps a shorter player. But an important thing for new players to note is what we see here is when when Weso's throwing out those lance nades, you're going to see Jjjosie move to a point on his podium, wait for the lance nade to explode, because it targets the body of the player, and then move back. So what he's doing there is he's just controlling where the lance nade's going to shoot into a space which he's not planning on dodging into.
Yeah, but Weso right here, you know, did a little bit of dancing. Unfortunately, is still going to be taken out, so the dancing not working here.
He needs to dance more. That's the problem is the lack of... He just open with dancing, Weso. You know it will.
Okay. Important strategy here. So for those of you new to this game, dance more. That's the key here.
I know Jjjosie is cool as a cucumber. He's not going to have any mind games affect him. He's very well versed, and you know, also being the number one player for so long, you're kind of used to the crowd rooting against you. You're used to these kind of mental pressures, and he's just stayed very strong and very resilient to that.
Earlier we saw a beautiful shield usage by Weso, taking about a bunch of those bullets here. But again, as you can see, Weso trying to control space with the lance like that, but that majestic nade has really been causing a little bit of problems for Weso here. Again, it's just the aim that Jjjosie has, the aim and the timing of that grenade every single time. And here comes the hurricane shots again. Gonna split up into the sky. And there it is again, controlling space with that majestic nade, using that hurricane split and the majestic nade combination there. Try to chip a little bit of damage and then get the big damage off of that Luma. Ooh, but look at that!
Yeah.
Speaking of Luma, Weso getting a nice shot on Jjjosie, taking the lead here. Can Weso take a game here? But Weso now getting caught and taking a bunch of damage as well.
Neck and neck. Jjjosie's probably maybe 1 damage less than Weso. Any amount of damage from Jjjosie's side to Weso is going to put him in the lead. Stable weapon toss probably equal things out. But what you still saw there earlier is Jjjosie trying to shoot the hammer nade, the lance nade out of the sky, and that distraction, that looking at that lance nade, caused him to be open to a Luma shot. 6 seconds left on the clock. Weso needs to dodge everything.
Yeah, Jjjosie though with a slight life lead. Weso needs to hit with something, but no, not gonna happen. And Jjjosie is gonna take that round.
That was odd.
Yeah,
it looked like Jjjosie was in the red and Weso wasn't, but maybe I just didn't see correctly. But Jjjosie takes it. Very, very close.
So there you go, 2-0 for Jjjosie right now. And yeah, you see one of the strategies there. You do see Weso, with the Aegis shield over there. You see sometimes when the nade goes up into the sky, Weso throws the shield up there to try to intercept the nade out of the air and such. And I do also want to continue this conversation, Fab, that you said my cat might be able to potentially join your organization. Is that true?
That is 100% true. However, I have not discussed this resolution games, but I'm not going to pitch my organization on stream because that would be unprofessional.
Okay, fair enough. I'll have to let my cat know that he has to wait just a little bit before we can get a final answer here. So,
but no, shout out to all the Fab players playing today, and also Master because he's the other one that's not on the organization. Couldn't have asked for a stronger game 1 though. That was so close. Weso looked dominating round 1. Jjjosie looked dominating round 2, and then it was such a close round at the last one. You can't really ask for a better sense of Blaston there. I am interested to actually hopefully we'll get one of the players, either Woody or Jjjosie, in for an interview later. Actually, it would have to be Jjjosie for an interview after this game if he wins. I want to pick his mind on the thoughts of Split Hurricane, because it's not something we've seen a lot since the current meta. We saw it a lot in the past meta, in the previous updates, but it's something we're seeing a lot of players kind of bring to this tournament, both Woody and Jjjosie, which I wasn't expecting. And Jjjosie is one of the players who I think has such a great knowledge on the game that often in my commentating, I'm just repeating stuff he's told me in private as my own thoughts. So shout out Jjjosie. I'm going to continue doing that for the rest of my commentating days.
I mean, honestly, oftentimes, hearing their strategy and their thoughts and what their their thought process is one of the absolute most fascinating things, because with competitive gaming like this, with the top players, they have this almost kind of like innate sense that they could pick things out from the game that a lot of other players just takes them a while to learn. And it's always really cool to see how some people just take to some games better than others.
Yeah, a lot of it is theory crafting, a lot of it is strategy. I mean, it's a very reactive, fit game. But on top of that, you've got to come in with a good strategy, a good loadout. You want to know what your objectives for the loadouts are. You can't run every loadout the same. You want to know what your weaknesses and strengths are. If you've got a very defensive loadout, then potentially you don't have to focus too much on counter pressure. If you are full aggression, you don't want to give your opponent time to breathe in order to set up a combo.
Yeah, and again, it's tricky because, you know, in a lot of competitive games, non-VR games, you know, when you're like, oh, I'll try this loadout, I'll try that loadout, you know, you can test the strategies here and there. But in this game, it's such a different situation because even if you are like, oh, I like the way Jjjosie is using that majestic nade, I'm going to try to do the same thing. It takes a long time before you can actually get to the point where that majestic nade is so accurately over the podium every single time, or you're going to be like, I love this double Viper loadout, obviously, huge amount of damage, and you're just trying to ellipse these Viper shots and it's just flying into the sky. You know, not saying that I have experience with that.
Well, funnily enough, the way I got good with Viper originally, like over a year ago, was I was bringing it in queue, and I was just like new players when they start, because I was a new player, I was swinging it, and it was going completely to the side. And I came across Woody, who we saw in game 1 versus Jjjosie, and Woody just looked at me, and I could see on his avatar the look of pity, the look of, oh God, you poor thing. So he just stopped playing and he started motioning. No, you do it like this. You do it like this. And then he threw his to me. I was like, go for it. You know, you try now. You're not going to hit me. I'm better than you, but you can, like, this is how you do it. So that's also just another shout out to the community. Like, people like Woody are just happy to train new players because we want to grow this.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. And again, you know, the advantage of VR is that you are able to be so expressive in game like that too. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, shout outs to Woody. I see him in the chat over there, of course, you know. Oh man. But yeah, so far right now, Jjjosie looking strong as we expect. Again, I did say 2-0, but that's because production added the 1 to the game so fast over there. I thought that was going to be added to 2. It's just 1-0, as you said, the first game over there. So it is just 1-0 right now. And I believe we're going to get to game number 2 over here. Yep, already in progress here. What happened? Where did Jjjosie's life... Wait, what happened?
That was 3 Luma shots to Jjjosie and something else, I guess. Because 60 damage plus that... See, more dancing. Weso understands. That is his path to victory. Jjjosie, however, bringing the HP Nova. Not something we do see a lot in competitive. We'll see a ton in queue.
Yeah, those Novas, I mean, I'm surprised too, because, you know, like I said, I was playing in the campaign and one of the CPU opponents was using a lot of those Novas, and those Novas are terrifying.
Well, the benefit of the Nova is if you just point them and shoot them at a lance, unless your opponent invests a lot of damage into getting rid of them, they will just block the path of the lance. And if Jjjosie thinks he's been struggling with those lance cutting off his area of podium, that is a good counter. Plus, you can hide behind them when your opponent is bringing Luma shots. Most of Weso's direct damage is in the form of a Luma or a Lance, and they shoot straight. So.
And again, just as a reminder to everybody, I do believe Jjjosie was on the blue side in the last match, but Jjjosie obviously on the purple this time, and Weso on the blue. So switching sides over here. And they're going to try to send out some of those Novas, just waiting a little bit here for more weapons to spawn. Looks like Jjjosie's trying to find some more weapons to be able to try to control space with those Novas, but can't even take a tiny hit anymore. So those Lances are going to be terrifying.
He needs to hit a Viper, and he's won the game. That's pretty much his path to victory, but unfortunately. What I will say just quickly is, Jjjosie is bringing one of my favourite weapons, and that is Raptor Split Attachment 3. Now, the Raptor Split Attachment 3 is like a normal Raptor, except it's got half the amount of bullets, and they split halfway through. That's not the and when I first saw this weapon, I actually thought it was the worst attachment in the game. I thought it was useless. But what it doesn't tell you in the loadout is all the screen. Oh, lovely Viper Ellipse shot there by Jjjosie. But what it doesn't tell you about the Raptor Ellipse attachment is, the Raptor attachment, not the Raptor Ellipse, is those bullets slow down. Okay, those bullets get super slow, so they spend a lot of time on the podium. Yeah. And that's a 2-second weapon which becomes setup. Becomes something which reduces podium mobility, and you'll often see players walking backwards into that, and you actually saw Slowly walking backwards a few times against Turbo when he was bringing it.
Yeah, speaking of controlling a lot of space, here comes those Novas just slowly approaching, and I love the spread from Jjjosie right there, setting them out just right, but Weso gets past them. You can see him looking back, making sure he doesn't back off into them as well, and now setting out those lances to try to control Jjosie's movement again.
Okay, let's have a look. It's pretty neck and neck. You know, Jjosie's just trying with this Viper lip shot, and he's so lethal with those things.
Yeah. Oh, nice dodges around those. But just needs to. Weso needs to do something here. 30 seconds left. Jjjosie with a life lead, not too much, but again. Oh, there we go. Okay, tied up again.
And what's this? The driving seat
potentially. There it is.
Oh, Weso.
And just like that, the Viper shot finding its mark and just draining so much health so fast. And again, we can see how powerful the Viper is in the right hands.
And Jjosie's hands are definitely the right hands for Viper Lips. He is a scary player. But Weso doing a good bit of chip damage there to start things off. Not quite the explosive start he's had the rounds that he's been winning. But that really seems to be the way these games have gone. Weso either completely annihilates Jjjosie in a round, or Jjjosie wins.
I mean, at this point, I mean, that first round where Jjjosie lost all of his life right at the very beginning, just like 90 health gone almost instantaneously, it still took a while for Weso to finish him off. So you see that you gotta get these good hits on him. And speaking of good hits, there's one right there. I think from the Raptor shot there, doing a little bit of good damage to Jjjosie.
Up until that point, Weso had taken no damage for pretty much a whole minute, and now he's back neck and neck on health with Jjjosie. So Weso took no damage with a lovely combo from Jjjosie. You know, that podium denial forcing him to dodge into projectiles. You can't beat it.
Yeah. Wow, that Viper shot barely missed. You saw just, I mean, it's a tiny little strawberry, but on the screen it was ginormous because it came so close to hitting him.
And the EU scene loves you for calling it strawberry, so good stuff there. 30 seconds left. Lovely damage from Weso. This Jjjosie needs to make something happen here if he doesn't want to forfeit the whole game.
Yeah.
Setting up with this Nova. He's got the Viper in hand. Is he going to have any other follow-up?
Try to do this. He's got the Novas. He's waiting until the Novas have controlled him. And here we go, trying to curve some of these Viper shots at him. But no time. Oh, God! Both of them taking a little bit of damage at the end simultaneously. And if I feel like if Jjjosie didn't take that last chunk, he might have won that one, but look at this. Weso taking a game off of Jjjosie.
Yeah, well played to Weso. Weso joins the elite small group of people to ever take a game off Jjjosie in competitive play. Last new entry was Crawmster, so he joins a very good group of players. And that's really the level of Jjjosie, that you measure success of other players by whether they can take games of Jjjosie. But you know, I think if anyone in this tournament other than 24 is going to take games off Jjjosie, I would expect to be Weso, despite the fact I wouldn't necessarily say that Weso is the person who I would expect to come third place. You know, I think that Woody, for example, could take a game off Weso, take a match of Weso. But the reasoning behind this theory for me is because I'm a crackpot, and also because they played so much. You know, when you play a player enough times in a scrim session, you know, you understand their style of play and you adapt to it. And Weso is an incredibly strategic thinker. He understands the game in a way which I don't think other players really appreciate. Whenever I've had a training session with him on, for example, Quicksilver back in the day when it was still viable, and he approached that. I'm not going to go into too many specifics, but he approached that in such a unique way. I came across after the training session, not thinking I knew how to play that weapon better, but understanding I had no idea how to play that weapon, and he was such a higher level because he just thought about the game in a completely different context.
Now, obviously, I'm just been learning the game myself and such. It's been around for 2 years here, and there has been a lot of balance patches and such. How frequent have the balance patches been for the game? Just curious.
Well, they're getting less frequent, but they're getting more because they're getting more added to them. Because before it used to be, you throw out a new weapon and a few patch changes, maybe every 2 months or so, I believe. Mm-hmm. But then they started to have much bigger patches where, for example, they introduced the concept of attachments at the start of this year or earlier this year. I want to say it must have been around March or April sometime. And then since then, they've had one additional one, which would have happened at the very start of August or the very end of July, because it happened just between the end of VRML season and the VRML finals. And so it's kind of every 3, 4, 5 months here or there. I've been around for all the balance attachments. I just have no concept of time because all I do is play Blaston.
Yeah, pandemic, dude. It just nobody has any concept of time right now.
I just stay inside, do my bit, play Blaston all day. It's the way to go.
Again, it's a great physical workout there, and you are talking about the VRML, of course. This is the first season of that, but VRML will be returning for Blaston next year as well. So the season 2 is already planned out there. So definitely follow VRML on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch at Blaston_VRML. To keep up with all of the updates on what's going on for 2023. So I'm sure everyone's looking forward to the next season coming up.
I've just seen in the Twitch chat, we've had a request from Blaston Official to have more Fab.org merch. So let me just grab some. Okay. But honestly, I hope that a lot of the players playing here today will be playing in their Fab.org shirts. They recently won at a tournament. I hope Jjjosie is, and I hope 24 is, because they are both recent recipients. And here's a lovely tracksuit bottoms that we have. I think it's lovely. And of course,
check it out.
On the bottom, you have Fab.org, because that's where you want it. You want to walk down the street and have people staring at that. Which is my daily life. I wear these everywhere. My family refuse to go out with me now. But it's worth it.
What? I can't even imagine. Come on. I would want to hang out with you everywhere with that. Come on.
I'm not. So it's not really the stream where I can show my Fab.org boxes on me. So we'll save that for a different live stream.
I mean, the best part about it is all these players now could be your models for those, right? Because with all the workout and how beautiful everyone is, thanks to Blaston.
I will shout out to Mother of Dogs, who was our model for our fabulous org branded bikini. So thank you once again. Looks great. We're going into game. Let's stop. Okay. Weso versus Jjjosie. Weso seems to be running pretty much the same loadout as before, and Jjjosie is bringing that fast hammer Elite. He's not bringing a Viper Elite, and he's going with the Luma too. Yeah,
you can definitely see Jjjosie. I mean, it's not necessarily, just toying with the opponents, but, going with a lot of different builds here. It's really important, too, because then how to play these builds, how you could bust them out when you feel like they're a proper counter pick, etc., etc. It's a nice little ability to have to be able to play all these different builds. Jjjosie, of course, back onto the blue side, and Weso now on the purple side here after last game.
100%. And the other thing is, if you're playing lots of different varied builds and you're just mixing up every game, you can't really be counterpicked to the level of someone who just brings the same build every time. Some builds do have very easy counters.
And Weso taking a huge chunk of damage right there. I believe it was from the Luma shot.
Yeah. Now, important thing to note is that these hammer ellipse shots, they do 5 damage each. They're harder to clamp because they move faster, but they do more damage. And you don't want to get stung by them. They do more damage than these Wildcat shots do, because the Wildcat does reduce damage because it's faster.
chasing him down with those shots. But look at that dodging, the avoiding by Jjjosie right there. Not taking any damage from that barrage from the Wildcat.
Nice return of the Hammerade from Weso, but he's needing way more than that to have a chance in this match. And I don't want to say it's all over, but I just don't think he's got the damage on his side to actually equal this up.
Yeah, you can see right there, Weso. Having a little fun here. Rolling on the ground here. Weso's on fire. Stop, drop, and roll. That's the idea right there. Whoa. Whoa, did he just throw his hand out there?
That's what happens when you press the Oculus button. Your hand's gonna
go right.
Weird places.
Oh, man. Throwing some guns at Jjjosie. Again, those lances, like I said, like when you see them when you're testing them out and when you look at them like kind of on paper, those lances feel absolutely oppressive and super powerful, but Jjjosie has been handling them so well. And again, we've talked about Jjosie's height, being able to go over a lot of things to dodge as well as under. As you can see he's just hovering right over those lances. It's almost like they're not there.
Weso does need to, I think, move them slightly higher, perhaps. Oh, Weso, that was very optimistic trying to grab that Hammerade there. Okay, so he does go a bit higher. So now Jjosie's forced to lean down, and it's much easier to hit. So that's a good adaptation there by Weso. Maybe needs to be a bit quick on the draw and the follow-up.
All right, grabs the Luma. Jjosie's got some damage potential here. Gets a hit. So you see Weso's life going down there in a large chunk, and I love the lance grenade over there on the basically the horizontal shot, because he got it to blow to go straight there, literally cutting off half of the front half of the platform. But again, Jjjosie just really hasn't been that affected by that, and there it is. Jjosie's gonna take game number 3.
The other thing is looking at this lance nade is that what you've got, what a lot of people kind of forget is a lance nade doesn't do that much damage when it's a split attachment. You know, if it's a normal lance nade, that stuff burns, and if it's the fast damage attachment, that stuff burns very quickly, and you've got to jump out the way. But oftentimes, if I'm trapped, I've got 5, because you know sometimes you get double lance builds where you've got lance and lance repeat, and then the lance split nade, so triple lance essentially, and you don't have much place to move. I just take the split lance nade damage one of the beams, because it's like I think 2 a second or 2 a tick. Really, the thing there is to try and put the pressure on your opponent to kind of just move out the way. And these, as you know, a few of these rounds have been close enough that damage would be instrumental in closing it one way or the other. But I don't know if I like the split nade, lance nade. I'd much prefer to see a fast damage lance nade attachment, which immediately puts pressure. And the other thing about that is, as soon as you hear it activate, Jjjosie will know that if he doesn't move immediately, he's going to start taking beam damage, because it starts doing damage so fast, and that forces him to dodge out of the way. And as soon as he starts dodging to the left or the right, that's when Weso can just pick him out with a Luma.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see if Weso decides to go with a change out. Maybe is going to try to go for a little bit less lance usage here, or maybe, as you mentioned, just going for the faster lance nade. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Or, you know, Weso could clearly, obviously, stay with the exact same loadout that he's using currently.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Weso to stay with the same loadout, because you know Weso really likes to work out. Weso doesn't tend to switch things up too much with loadouts, but he definitely has the ability to. You know, Weso's been playing longer than I think all of us. He played a load at the start, and then he just kind of went dark, kind of only focused on scrims, doesn't play Q at all, because he said that Q is too boring. You know, it's too easy for him to win games. Which, you know, when I first played Weso, I'd been playing for a long time, and I was like, I've never seen you in Q. This is going to be a stomp, like easy peasy. You've got low LP. Absolutely crushed me. He's a phenomenally good player. But his focus has always been on his dodging ability. And
Looks like, yeah, so no Lance nades now. Instead, switching over to the Avalanche nade instead.
Was considered to be a bad choice of nade since the nerf that it's got, but a lot of top players have come out in fairly recent times and said it's actually still pretty good. It was ridiculously OP before. Oh, Weso taking lots of damage there from Jjjosie. Yeah, 30 seconds in, Jjjosie with a commanding lead.
Yeah, it seems to be the standard right now for Jjjosie. Jjjosie playing very confidently, although not going for any of the strange triple nade loadouts at this point. Going with a pretty straightforward loadout, it looks like, for Jjjosie.
Yeah, Jjjosie knows that he's been playing Weso long enough that Jjjosie is also one of the players, given that he's been playing with Weso so much more than everyone else, that has repeatedly said Weso has got this. Like when he's been in other competitive games, Weso's really strong. In fact, when Weso lost against Rudy and Prawnstar in the last Chance qualifier, I think Jjjosie was the most surprised, and I think Weso felt that he made Jjjosie's prediction look rather silly. But of course, Weso's here now, and he's got a chance to show the world that he is that strong player, which I firmly believe he is. Also, he made me look ridiculous because I said Weso was incredibly good too, and then but he's having a much stronger chance this round.
See right here, Jjjosie again on the blue side over here, avoiding those lances, no problem here. She's ducking under there, got a big chunk of damage. Again, I believe that was a nice Luma shot right there. We see the hammer ellipse here, see it curving over here, covering the space just a little bit better, coming from both sides.
Yeah, Weso needs to work on dodging that hammer nade as well. That hammer nade Viper combo is absolutely lethal.
Playing from the ground here, you see him shooting up the lances upwards, but definitely playing jungle style here, crawling on the floor.
This is a set point.
Yeah, I think Weso pretty much at this point in time kind of realizes that this is gonna be a tough one. Just having a good time here, trying to enjoy himself. I feel like honestly Weso's biggest weakness this match here was not enough dancing. I just feel like there was just not enough dancing.
You should become a full-time Blaston analyst because that is a very insightful local out point, and I completely agree. Very. I think very well played from both. So, Weso got a game of Jjjosie. Weso was putting lots of damage on Jjjosie in various matches. A lot of games that Jjjosie won, and a lot of rounds Jjjosie won, very close against Weso.
Yeah.
And not a lot of players can claim that sort of achievement.